green bronze. And he is the Prussian General Blücher, and he's pointing. So the castle is right now here on the left hand side, green statue. And he's pointing at the place where he and his army crossed the frozen river to chase Napoleon and help defeat him in the Battle of Waterloo. Both castle we're passing now left hand side is shaped like boats. It's a rich variety of roofs and position on the Rhine River makes this well-preserved castle even more unique. And the castle is among the few intact medieval nice castles on the Rhine. It was never conquered, never destroyed, withstanding not only wars but also the natural attacks of floods by the river, and that time still even ice. Of rocks. It passed. Difficult to see when you pass it. Better to see when it's on the back of the ship. So since the water is quite high, you can see a little bit. But it did promise you a story about the 7 virgins, so I will tell you. Once upon a time, 7 beautiful virgins lived on the Schönburg Castle. Beautiful castle, and their beauty gave the castle's name. As beautiful as these 7 ladies were, and as strong was their rejection of the idea of love. One day, 7 young knights with the most precious clothes and the finest of manners introduced themselves. But the ladies also rejected these young men. Suddenly, the skies went dark. Loud music resounded, and each of the knights seized one of the sisters. Dancing and turning, they swung their way out of the castle, down the mountain, and directly into the river that simmered with thunder and lightning. When the river calmed down again, 7 rocky tips protruded from the water. And these were the 7 virgins whose cold-heartedness had turned them to stone. Beautiful, beautiful legend of the 7 virgins of the Schönburg Castle. And on the right hand side, in the hill, you can see our next castle appearing. Beautiful colors, by the way, bright yellow. Trees, hills. And that's the Stahleck Castle. About 525 it's located and was erected in the 11th century by order of the Archbishop of Cologne, which protected the region, this region, with a very specific name called Bacharach. Right hand side in front of us, it's a little bit hidden in its environment, which you will see more clear while we pass it. The castle of Stahleck, with a fascinating history. I will tell you more about when we pass it. right-hand side, beautiful view. There you can see on top of the hill, the Stahleck Castle. Even the captain thinks this is a very beautiful. He's coming out now to make a picture. Yes. Absolutely. So the Stahleck Castle, for centuries this castle was owned by the most important families of the Holy Roman Empire. But during the Second World War, this castle became one of the 27 Jugendburgen, which means youth castles, and these castles served the Hitler Youth, which was a youth organization of the Nazis dedicated to educating young boys from the age of 14 to 18 years old. Very popular place for Hitler, as he loved giving speeches to the young boys. And on the hill on the right side, the castle is located. You can see the wall. And a fun fact about the castle: the wall facing us is partly removed, so you get the chance to see the inner courtyard of the castle from this point of view. And you can see a half-timbered house in the middle. And this house originally would also be behind the defense wall. But it's partly removed, so we can see it now. Nowadays, it's still a hostel, but no longer for the Hitler Youth, but for international students from all around the world. And the town that you see here is the town of Bacharach, and you could also see in the town the red stone church that was built in a Gothic style with a filigree arch. Try to invite you to sometimes also look back, because if you're at the front of the ship and you look back, different perspective of that beautiful view of the town of Bacharach. And another little search game, you can see it. That's our next castle on the right hand side. It's camouflaged, and it's the Fürstenberg Castle. So on the right hand side, diagonal in front of us, blending in, there is a tower with some white parts of it, round tower, and that is the Fürstenberg Castle. Fürst means Lord, Berg is mountain, so this is the Lord's Mountain Castle. On the right hand side, in front of us, on the left-hand side in front of us, you can see a square building, square tower, and that is the Nollig Castle. And this Fürstenberg Castle on the right-hand side was used by the Swedish Army in the 30 Years' War. And it gives you a pretty good idea of the original structure that medieval castles had. They had almost no decorations. There was generally one central tower used for guards, to be for enemies, and there was the surrounding defense wall. So then, what was it like to live in one of these castles. First, keep in mind that many of the castles we saw today were rebuilt later, either at the end of the Middle Ages or during the 19th century Romantic Revival. The earliest versions, like we see in the Fürstenberg Castle, were quite basic. Simple stone tower, entrances high above the ground, accessible only by a ladder that could be pulled up in danger. Inside, the single dark room served as kitchen, bedroom, and living space for the entire family. Small high windows covered with oiled linen or parchment, let in little light and lots of wind. Life basically was cold and damp. Meals were simple: roasted meat, boiled vegetables cooked over the hearth. Furniture was minimal: a table, some benches, and straw on the floor instead of carpets. The life was also dull. Lords hunted or fought, ladies sewed or spun. Any traveling musician or storyteller was a major event. There was no entertainment, so people dreamt of adventure. But things slowly improved after the Crusades of the 12th and 13th centuries, when returning crusaders brought back a taste of luxury and ideas like the pointed Gothic arch from the castles of the Middle East. And now you can see it very clearly, the Fürstenberg Castle with the round tower on the right. And on the left side, still need to pass it, the Nollig Castle. And this Nollig Castle had also been destroyed by the French. It was used as a stone quarry by Napoleon. Under Napoleon, most of the old city walls were removed because they had become obstinate against the modern artillery. Mainly cannons, and town people were allowed to use the stone for fixing their houses. And the heart of this castle is the Witches' Tower, and it is known that around 25,000 people were executed as witches for Napoleon, often blamed for environmental changes, cold summer, not enough rain, crops failing, and also often as well as personal vendettas for people who just didn't fit in. And as we start to pass the town of Heimburg here on the right hand side, you can see a castle, a big castle within town, a little bit higher on the hill. And this is the Heimburg Castle. And this Heimburg Castle is there since the 14th century and originally built by the Archbishop of Mainz to control river traffic and, of course, collect tolls. Like many castles, it was later destroyed and beautifully rebuilt in the 19th century during the Romantic. Today it's privately owned, so you cannot visit the inside, but it is a stunning sight from the river. The Heimburg Castle here on the right-hand side. And here is a local legend about this castle. It was once haunted by a knight who broke his vow of love, and his spirit is said to wander on the towers on stormy nights, searching for the lady who betrayed. There are even locals who stay to see once in a while. And in front of us on the right hand side we see the Sonneck Castle, with below only red-yellow colored trees. And this Sonneck Castle was constructed in the 11th century as a hunting lodge named after the forest which surrounds the castle. Right-hand side, let's see, Sonneck Castle, and it is said that it was inhabited by a notorious robber baron who was very, very jealous of an archer who lived close by called Hans Veit. He was the most skilled bowman in the area, so the robber baron challenged him to a duel. But the robber baron knew he couldn't win with a bow, so he challenged the archer to a sword duel, which he won. The baron burned out the archer's eyes and imprisoned him at Sonneck Castle. One night, during the celebration, the cruel Sonneck asked to bring the imprisoned and blind bowman Hans Veit to humiliate him in front of his friends. He challenged him to shoot with an arrow at a goblet in mid-air, and if he hit, he was promised to be free. The robber baron was sure that the blind archer would not hit the goblet, so he toasted in the air and shouted, "Shoot!" And indeed, the archer could not see where the goblet was, but he could hear his enemy, and in a split second later, the arrow pierced the cruel robber baron in the neck. Later, the castle was destroyed by Rudolf of Habsburg on his mission to stop the robber barons, and in 1834 it was rebuilt by the Crown Prince of Prussia in a neo-Gothic style. It is not allowed to build any bridges or have any industry in this region, with one exception at Hill on the right. This is a stone quarry, and this entire mountain was donated by Germany to the Netherlands when the floods of 1953 devastated the country. The Netherlands has no stone resources and are using stone from this mountain to reinforce the dikes and dams. The stone is loaded into ships and it goes downstream to the Netherlands.